Hey guys, just a quick little addition here before the video starts. Within hours of when I finished working on the video you're about to see, an update came out, 2.0034. As best as I can tell, the only thing that this did was bring the content from the beta version into the full version, so I don't think they actually added anything. So I believe the rest of the video, everything that I say here, in the upcoming video is still the case. None of it changed. So I just wanted to let you guys know that this is labeled as a 2.0034 video. Even though the entire video takes place in the beta, I'm very positive that everything is like identical. Actually, no, this is the one difference here, I believe, is that dragonflights now tend to supersede click frenzies. So they can occur at the same time now. But just rarely. Whereas before in the beta, it couldn't happen at all. But yeah, just wanted to mention that quick before we start the video. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. Hey you guys, Chairman37X here, bringing you yet another Cookie Clicker update video. This time it is on the 2.0033 beta, as you can see. I think this is actually the first time I'm doing a video on a beta version, but you know, I've had a few comments, people who've been really interested in me talking about this update, because it's pretty substantial, so I figured I would go ahead and do that. So, as I always do, we'll go ahead and go over to the info here. As you can tell, it's been quite a while since I've played this, or even since I've checked it, because after a little while it stopped, I don't like having it always running in the background, and eventually it started just wiping my data whenever I didn't have it open, so hopefully that's fixed, but we'll have to see. So this is the spiritual update. This, as you can see, it's been almost a year since the last update. So we'll just go ahead and go through this and the beta patch that came out actually like a couple days ago, and then we'll go through it. So as you can see, they implemented sugar lumps, these guys up here. They start coalescing after your first ascension, and they're used as currency for very special things. As you can see, there's a few level up things. We'll get into that in a bit. Buildings cannot be leveled up. That's the main usage, I believe, right now for sugar lumps. Added 2 new minigames, which I think minigames is a bit of a strange term to use for them, but you'll see about that very soon. They are very interesting, and I'm actually a big fan of what those do. And then yeah, more implemented in the future. Potentially dungeons, which is actually a feature that I never went over because it was in a beta that I didn't do a video on. Potentially dungeons will finally be making it into the full game at some point in the future. Active buffs are saved. I think that just means like if I click on this and something good happens, which it did actually. Look at that. These will now be saved. So like if I save this and then load it again, it'll still be here as opposed to losing it, which I guess is what happened before. Background selector finally works, which that's pretty cool. I'll go over. That'll be one of the last things I go over. It's very simple, but I like it. So I'm not entirely sure what this means, but there's that. Top menu no longer scrolls. Time spans are written on nicer. Some bugs. Yeah, some basic stuff there at the end. And then this was a bit of a modification to some of the things that were added, mostly to those mini games. I say in quotes that I talked about a bit ago. Export and import. I'm not sure exactly. I think that means for like save exporting. They didn't quite save the minigame data correctly before, but now it does. And there's the first time I read this, I had no idea what any of this meant. Jeremy and Celebrock and all this weird stuff that I didn't understand what it means. Conjure baked goods. We'll get to that very soon. And then also apparently you can't have Dragonflight and Click Frenzy at once. But okay, so I have a little thingy open here just to keep me on track. So, sorry, mouse got stuck. Okay, so first and foremost, we have sugar lumps. These little guys here. After your first ascension, like I said, they start to be created. It takes about, I think, 20 hours for it to mature. I'm not sure what it means by mature and ripen. I'm not 100% sure. Oh, okay, so that takes, once they're ripe, then they can be harvested. Although I'm not sure what's the significance of them being matured. But they have a little bit of info there. Eventually they'll fall and be auto-harvested, which is nice. Currency, yeah, it'll start growing as soon as the previous one goes, and they grow when the game is closed, which is very good. But basically these can be used for some very interesting things. So as you can see down here, you can upgrade cursors by putting a sugar lump in. It'll increase it by 1%, I think. But then after that, to increase it another percent, it takes 2 sugar lumps and then 3, and then I think it just increases like that, just very statically, which is kind of nice. But besides that, I was kind of confused, but actually you have to go to this screen, which is one most people don't end up seeing at any point because they usually at least have stats open. But if you don't have any of the tabs selected, you see this, which shows all of your buildings and stuff. And this is how you upgrade everything else. Now, you can upgrade any of the buildings, but the really interesting ones are the temples, these ones, and the wizard towers. So, let me just see if there's anything else. No, I think that's okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and talk about this. This is the really big stuff. So this is the stuff I'm really excited to talk about. So first we'll go ahead and do temples. So you get this, and then you get this thing called the Pantheon. So you open this up. Oh, that's already in there. That's a little bit strange. I was doing a bit of testing, and apparently that somehow got into the save. So I still don't think it quite exports and imports these correctly, I'll be honest. But I'm just gonna take this out, and I just won't be able to show off all of it necessarily. But basically you have these 3 slots: diamond slot, ruby slot, and jade slot. In order, the diamond is the best and the jade is the worst as far as the effects that they give. You have worship swaps, which basically you can only swap these the spirits that you're worshiping every so often. It takes exponentially longer to regenerate a swap depending on how many that you have left. So if you've only swapped one spirit, it'll only take an hour to regen, but beyond that, as you can see, it takes quite a lot longer. So if you dump all 3 of your swaps at once, it's going to take you almost a day to be able to change any of them again. So basically you have these, I think 11 spirits that you have, and they all have different effects, and I've kind of grouped them into a few categories, but we'll just go over them. This one gives just basic CPS for, like, that's just it. It just increases base CPS. Pretty good one, but if you click on a golden cookie, it'll be unslotted, and all worship swaps will be used up. So like if you have this, and you have all 3 of your swaps, and you click a golden cookie, then I assume that includes wrath cookies. I'm actually not sure. But if you do that, this will leave, and you won't have any swaps left, and you'll have to wait 16 hours just to get one back. So this one is this one I put into the idle category because this one is very good for idle builds because you don't bother with golden cookies and stuff. This one increases golden and wrath cookie duration, but buildings give less CPS. This is a bit of a weird one. I put it into active build, which might be true. I don't even know if you'd want this in an active build, to be honest. It's a bit of a weird one. I'm not sure I see the value in this personally, but it's there if you're very actively into the golden cookie stuff, which might be good. I'm not sure. This one here, selling buildings triggers a buff. So depending on how much, so like if you sell 100 at once, I think you'll get this. Let me see. Boost clicks it'll increase by 300%. For 30 seconds if you put it in the diamond slot. And oh yeah, I didn't go over that. So basically the three boosts there, it's pretty straightforward. Depending on which slot you put it into, you get the buff that has, the little icon next to it. And the diamond ones, like I said, always give the best buffs. But pretty much all of these things have some sort of trade-off. So you have Sicklius here. This is one of the ones that they changed. CPS bonus fluctuates between plus 15 and minus 15 over time. I'm not sure if that means it starts with plus 15 and then ends at minus 15, or if I'm really not sure. This is a bit of a weird one. It might be good. I'll be like, stuff like this is really hard for me to evaluate, especially since I haven't been, playing in quite some time. But it's another bit of a strange one. I don't have that in any particular category. This one I have in the selling category because there's a couple that boost that help you sell, that are good for like selling buildings and stuff, and that's why I have this one in. This one I don't have in any because there's a few of these that are just kind of weird. This one I like a lot. This one, because the seasonal things have always been something that can take a long time, but this gives a boost to I think the frequency of certain seasonal events. So like reindeer would appear more often during Christmas, and you'd be more likely to get eggs when you're doing the Easter event, stuff like that. But switching seasons is more expensive. But 100% more expensive than the trillions when I'm in the decillions is pretty much nothing right now. So unless you switch seasons a lot, I think this was going to be a very good one to have when you're fresh out of an ascension. Which also, I forgot to mention it, but sugar lumps carry over between ascensions. I think that, that definitely would make sense. But yeah, Spirit of Creation here. Buildings are cheaper, but heavenly chips have less effect. Basically, this, I think, is just one that you'd want to have on just for a little bit while you're, you know, buying a bunch of buildings, and then remove so that you don't have a massive hindrance to your CPS. But, this one's really good for buying cheap buildings, so I have that one in the, like, selling, buying category as well. Then we have this one here. This is going to be in the way. I'm just going to get that one. That's fine. Clicks are more powerful, but buildings produce less. This one is very clearly an active build type of spirit here. 15% more powerful. That can be pretty big, I think, if you have that, or if you have like an auto clicker or something like that running. And really 3% from buildings, it doesn't seem like a whole lot. So this one seems pretty good for active builds all around. And then we have Jeremy, which is just a gear. I like this one, actually, now that I look at it. Buildings produce 10% more cookies, but the golden and wrath cookies are 10% less. Another one's very clearly, or another very clear one. It's very good for idle, because you don't really care about the golden cookies and stuff. But another pretty good one, I would say. Then we have this cow. Milk is more effective, but again, less golden cookies. Another very good one for idle. I would suspect this one is one of the better ones for idle builds, actually, just because I don't remember exactly how effective milk is, but I feel like by now, by the point I am, it's pretty good. Then we have this one. Golden Wrath cookies have a greater chance of a negative effect, but wrinklers get a huge boost. This seems like, in my opinion, probably the best one for an idle build. Digest 15%, so I have to assume that that means that each one gives an additional 15% bonus on top of what they already gave before, and they appear faster. And the only downside is that golden cookies, all the time you get wrath cookies that have a greater chance of a negative effect. But I mean, if you're doing idle, then you don't care about that, and this is an incredibly powerful looking effect, if I'm understanding it correctly. Maybe the digesting thing isn't quite what I think it means, but this one seems very good to me. And then this one helps with your sugar lumps, but only if your if your total amount of building ends with 0, which is kind of an interesting requirement. So like if I had left this up, which I actually should have just kept it there how I had it before, and then if I bought a single cursor, then it wouldn't be active anymore. But basically now you see that it matures after 20 hours, ripens after 23, and falls after a day. But when I had this, it ripened after 22 hours and fell after 23 hours. So this is one that probably once, now that I start playing again, this will be in the diamond slot pretty much all the time, because I'm really going to be looking for this, getting some more sugar lumps. And now for the other one, since I haven't been playing for that long, I don't have another sugar lump, so I actually have to load a save to get this one, so I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. I noticed that the sugar lump still has the same amount of time as I had before I imported the save, so that's a little bit odd. It's still not at 18 minutes, but importing and exporting still seems to be a little bit funny. But anyway, the other one that you get stuff from is from Wizard Towers. Oh, it even says that leveling up the building unlocks a minigame. I didn't know that. But this one, we unlock the Grimoire, which is pretty interesting. This is more of a, like, someone who is more of an active player, I think, would get more use out of. But basically, you have this series of spells that you can now cast with magic. Magic amount depends on amount of Wizard Towers and their level. So I guess as you level this up more, you'll be able to get more magic, as well as just buying more. I wonder if I can, no, I can't buy very many Wizard Towers at all. And it refills. The lower it is, the slower it refills. So that's similar to how before with the worship swaps, how the less you had, the slower it regenerated. This is actually very similar to that. So that's kind of interesting. So I'm just going to go over all the spells really quick. Summon half an hour worth of CP. Okay, so, sorry, first off, the magic cost is a percentage, but it also has a minimum. So, like, if you didn't have enough magic to have 40% of the magic, of your maximum magic be 7 or greater, it would just put it at 7 by default. But I have more than that, so it's 21. These increase as you get more magic. I think all of them do that, actually. And they all have, I think, I think all of them have a 20% chance to backfire. Basically, each one has an effect, and then if it backfires, it has usually a very bad backfire effect. So this one summons half an hour of your CPS, capped at 15% of your cookies owned, so you can't go, you know, too crazy with that early on. But, you know, half an hour of CPS just from a single click, that's pretty good. But the backfire triggers a 15-minute clot, and you lose 15 minutes of CPS. So that's, as you can see, that's pretty bad. And you have a 20% chance when you cast the spell that that'll happen. Next one, summons a random golden cookie. I'm not sure, I guess that just means it'll have a random effect. Each existing golden cookie makes the spell 15% more likely to backfire. So I guess that means if you have a golden cookie already on the screen, then this will have... Oh yeah, so because the chance to backfire is 35 because I have a wrath cookie. But once that goes away, it should go back down to 20%. Look at that, we actually saw that. That was good timing. And then backfire summons an unlucky wrath cookie. But really that's not that bad because if you get a wrath cookie, just don't click on it. So that backfire is actually really lenient. All active buffs gain 10% more time. So that's pretty. So like if you get a really good golden cookie effect, you can go ahead and use stretch time to make it last a bit longer. But backfire halves all of the active buffs. So you know, once again, it's a pretty big trade-off. 10% versus minus 50%, pretty huge. This one's incredibly expensive. Costs 100 or 90% of your max magic. So that's pretty crazy. And all it does, you gain a random free building from those you already have. I don't see how this is worth it personally. Especially the backfire is you lose a random building. So I don't know. I'm not sure. I guess because later on buildings can become so incredibly expensive that even just buying one becomes like, you know, a huge ordeal. But I don't know. I'm a little on the fence about that one. Next, upgrades are 2% cheaper for a minute, which is pretty nice. You know, 2% is not much, but you can definitely stretch that a pretty long way. But the backfire, they're 2% more expensive for an entire hour. So, yeah, that's another pretty big trade-off there. But I mean, really, 2% here, 2% there. It's not a huge deal either way. I don't feel like. So that seems like a pretty fair one. Actually, along the same exact lines as this one, buildings are 2% cheaper for a minute, and then backfire, they're 2% more expensive for an hour. So, yeah, another one, very good for if you're trying to squeeze in a few more buildings, or like very early on if you want to do this, that you can power through buildings really fast in the early game. I feel like that could be pretty good use of that. This one, I really like this one. It's super cheap, as you can see. Cast a random spell at half the magic cost, but it has twice the chance of backfiring. So, basically, you can use this. It'll cast any of your spells for half cost, but they have double the chance to backfire. So, like, so you could cast this, and then you actually would be able to land on this, because, or at least I would be able to, because this costs 3, and this would cost 50, so I could actually potentially get this effect just by using this, if I get really lucky. But then also, I would then have a 40% chance to lose a random building. So this one's really interesting. I like it a lot. Very interesting one there. This one instantly summons a Wrinkler if conditions are fulfilled. I assume that just means if you're in the proper stage of the Grim Apocalypse. But the backfire pops one of your Wrinklers. Bit of a underwhelming one. I feel like neither of the effects really are all that significant. But I guess if you have a lot of magic, it could be good. You could just use this spell a bunch of times and try to get an albino Wrinkler, maybe? I'm not sure. Assuming it can even summon those. And then this one, spells backfire 10 times less for the next 5 minutes, or they backfire 5 times more for the next 10 minutes. So that's actually a pretty fair one, I think. The backfire isn't too bad, and the good effect is, you know, pretty good. So yeah, that's all the Grimoire spells, and I'll go ahead and use... Let's just use Conjure Baker. That's a pretty simple one. And I actually got it. Look at that. Got, and then as you can see, the mana here, it says how much it regenerates by. 0.03 second is not too bad at all. It seems to regenerate very quickly. A lot more active-oriented than the worship, than the Pantheon is, I think. We'll go ahead and cast another one just to get it really low. Oh, look at that, it worked. But then, as you can see, now that it's empty, it's only 0.01 per second. So, oh, it actually summons a golden cookie even during the Grim Apocalypse, too. That's kind of cool. Okay. Oh. Just gave a few cookies. Okay. So, yeah, that, I think, is everything involving sugar limps. Oh, actually, one more thing. There are a couple types of sugar limps. I'm not going to be able to show this off anytime soon because these take a ridiculous amount of time to grow. But once they reach a certain stage, you'll be able to see. There's normal, which of course, you know, you just get one lump. There's bifurcated. I'm not sure exactly what that is. You get 1 to 2 lumps when it's harvested. And the chance of 2 lumps, I think, it's about 50%, but it's a little bit more if you have something else that we'll get to in a bit. You have a 10% chance of those to appear whenever you get a sugar lump. Then we have golden, which is a 0.1% chance to appear, but you get 2 to 7 lumps once you harvest it. Your current cookies in the bank are doubled, and you get a buff for 24 hours called Sugar Blessing, which increases the spawn rate of golden cookies by 10%. So basically, the golden sugar lumps are ridiculously good. And then during the Grim Apocalypse, you have, depending on what stage you're in, you have an increased chance of getting a meaty lump. A meaty sugar lump, which gives you 0 to 2. So it could potentially be better, or you can get nothing. So much like a lot of other things during the Grim Apocalypse, it's a bit of a trade-off. Whew, okay, so that's all the stuff with sugar lumps. That's the majority of what the update is revolved around. If we go to stats, we have some new achievements here, as you can see. Let me see. I'm not sure exactly what I don't know what all of the new achievements are. I believe for there are now bake a certain amount of cookies per. So I'm trying to find my way around this whole menu again, but I know when I first logged on, I got all of these ones, these like dark pink ones. So they've added a new set of achievements for getting a certain amount of cookies from all the different types of buildings. Oh no, there it is. Okay, never mind. And then I think for each of them, they also have an achievement for getting to level 10. So like upgrading with the sugar lumps, getting each one to level 10. So those are going to take a very long time to get. I have to assume up here there's new ones for baking a certain amount of cookies in one ascension. I'm assuming is what those probably are. There's an achievement for getting 300 of each building, which I think I would have gotten, but I'm not sure where it would appear though. Here we go. Tricentennial. So there's that one. Each building grants an achievement for getting 350 of it as well. Trying to find. Yeah, 350 of those, and then I don't have that for a few of the later on ones. And then, sorry, I'm just trying to look through the achievements here. And there's also some achievements for getting sugar lumps and casting spells and all that stuff. So, that's that. There's also some new upgrades, just some new basic flavored cookies. I don't know what the unlock requirements for these are, but they actually give quite substantial boosts here. And then there's a cookie right here for getting 300 of everything, which gives plus 10%, which is pretty insane. So those all are going to boost my CPS quite a bit here. And then, actually, the last thing I'll show off, there's some new prestige upgrades. So actually, I'll go ahead and show off the background selector now. As you can see, you get to choose from a few different colors. I think the only ones that you can get normally are blue, and then all the Grimoire ones. You can switch between these. And you can also get money in the background, which is kind of cool. But then they have these, they have blue, of course, and then they have some other colors, which is quite nice, actually. So that's cool. I like the red one, personally. And then I think to close it off here, we're going to go into the prestige menu. And we're going to take a look here. Sadly, I can't get quite all of them. Actually, despite how many heavenly ships I have, I actually don't have enough to get all of the new upgrades. Not by a long shot, actually. I don't know why I don't have that one yet. That's a bit strange. Down here, I have to assume this is a new one, because I didn't have it before, but I actually don't remember this one being new. I'm trying to look at the prestige upgrades here. There's a couple that only appear when your prestige number ends in a certain amount of time. They increase the lifespan and effect of golden cookies, and the prestige effect of heavenly chips. They're only available when your prestige level ends with certain numbers, so I'm not sure exactly what to make of that. I have to assume that they're probably down here, so maybe I got the first one, and then there's like a couple other branching off of it. But the more substantial ones are up here. I didn't think this was a new one. But anyway, I have to get that one. And then up here, Sugar Lumps represent Iowa sooner. There's 3 new upgrades that affect the rate that you get sugar lumps. But as you can see, it's 100 million. And sadly, I can't show off the ones beyond it. Because, well, I don't have enough heavenly chips. But, I think that just about covers all of the new stuff in the update. Let me go ahead and recarnate here just to double check. Actually, really quick, I want to go ahead and get, I want to get one of, which building? I think it was, yeah, and this one is Wizard Tower is the last one. So if I get that, as you can see, I still have the level up and I still have the Grimoire. But I don't have that many Wizard Towers yet, so I don't have all that much magic to spend right now, but I can still do this and... Oh, shit. So I casted, Conjure Baked Goods, but I lost it, so now I get a clot for 15. Okay. Good thing I'm going to be loading a save anyway. But, yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Check out the description for a link to my Twitch.tv channel. Now that I'm back from vacation, hopefully I'll be able to stream a little bit more often. And, yeah, stick around for more Cookie Clicker videos as more updates roll out. Sorry this one took a little bit of time, because like I just said, I was on vacation when the update came out. But, yeah, I'll always be around here to, do Cookie Clicker videos whenever the new updates come out. So, yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys later.